Well, all right, we got the other truck all cleaned up and assembled, and now we're going to put the drivetrain together and then get this thing over onto the test track and see what it does. Now, this video may have seemed kind of long, mainly because I've been talking and working at the same time and pointing out all these little things that I do on this engine. In reality, I can do everything that I've done here in probably under an hour, and that's going slow even and kind of taking my time. Okay, so that's our general assembly there, but before I do that, I'm going to flip this over, and right down inside the motor here you've got these little thrust washers that ride between the armature end and the bearing. And you definitely want to take some medium weight and put one tiny little drop in that thrust washer, just like that. And pull on the armature slightly and reach down in here and do the same. And we're going to wipe off that little excess that got there. And then I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to put just a tiny drop on the armature shaft, right where it meets the bearing. And I'm going to do the same on this end. And I can assure you that's going to make a world of difference in how this runs and spins up. I'm just going to spin it over by hand a little bit just to get that worked in a tiny bit. All right. Then we're going to drop our frame on. The headlight bracket is on this end. These brackets now face this way because what had happened was somebody had got these switched around like this. And I believe that's what was making this engine run backwards to what it's supposed to be running. So we're just going to spin these around like that. So again, headlight on this end, brackets, the faces of the brackets facing you, as the person assembling it. That goes like that. Down on, now let me pick up a pinion assembly, just like, before I do that, I have to put these ends, the drive shaft, back onto, actually this is easier to do this way, so I'll lift it up. Oh, look at that, a big chunk of dried out grease right there. Or something. Where is a pair of I don't know what that is. Is that carpet fuzz? Huh. Where's my superfines? It looks like a piece of carpet fuzz or something stuck in there. Or dried grease, I can't tell which. Alright, that's got it. Alright, pop the drive shaft on. There we go, just like that. And then we pop this drive shaft on. They can be fussy sometimes, but once you get them at the right angle, it'll just slip right on. There we go. Sometimes I like to take some light gear lube. It's really probably not necessary, but I like putting just a little tiny drop in the drive shaft assemblies so that they just run a little smoother. And again, keep in mind you want to be sure to be using a plastics safe lubricant, because if you don't, you'll regret it, I assure you. Get the drive shafts to go underneath the truck clips. Make sure the truck's pins are sitting down in the trucks. Right? All right. Now we're going to take this little assembly, and again, we're going to take a light gear oil, and I'm going to put just a drop in the ball joint, and I'm going to put a drop in the thrust washer where the bearing goes so that that can work in. And then I'm going to take some touch of grease and make sure that that's actually in the worm gear. And now I just have to figure out which way the drive shaft is facing so that I get the keyway to, okay, it goes that way. This is always the fun part, getting the keyway of the drive shaft to hook on to the pinion. There we go. Let's slide that one out in the back there for the moment. All right, I'm going to set that in place. And now I just need to spin these block bearings around so that they are in their proper position, and the worm gear will just fall right into place pretty much. There it goes, just like that. All right, so that takes care of that end. Now we just have to make sure that truck is sitting on its pin. There we go, just like that. Wiggle it around a little bit, get that worm gear to sit. Fantastic. Again, we've put just a tiny bit of grease on the worm gear and made sure it's down in the teeth. Then we're going to take the cover and pop that on like that. And that truck is done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other end. I'll dab there. Just a tiny, tiny bit, because it really takes nothing to lubricate these motors and gears and whatnot. It needs just the slightest bit of lubrication because it's small. It really doesn't take much. And so, like I say, sometimes I find these things and there's great big gobs of lubricant in them, and it's just like, why did you do that? Yep, put that right on there. Sometimes I even put a tiny bit on the keyway, but it's kind of unnecessary. But once in a while I do it just because it's like, if it moves, give it some lube, you know, but it really doesn't need it. All right, and then we roll that back and forth and get that worm gear to settle in. Come on. Damn you. Sometimes they don't want to engage the pinion. This one's being fussy. There we go. That's got it. All right, clip on, just like that. Fantastic. Spin this right around like that again. And then we're going to see, oh yeah, this needs adjustment. These bars get out of shape and then they don't clip on snug like they should. See, that one's still out of whack. And we need to take a pair of pliers, small pliers, and we're going to get that S shape back where it belongs. Do the same on this end a little bit. As you might be able to see it, but the ends have this S shape, which acts like a spring clip. And if they're not tight, you don't get good contact, because that is actually where most of your contact is right in that S. It's not on the top plate. There we go. That's much better. All right. Then we just maneuver that underneath there like that, which you can actually do ahead of time, but I didn't because I was being stupid. All right, that's okay. That's interesting. This one is longer on one end than it is on the other, so we'll spin it right around, and this time I'll do it the right way. I'll put it underneath the trucks first, like that, and then get it up over the motor and pop it down and get it in its proper orientation. And there we have it. And now the spring clips are nice and tight. Last thing I need to do is clean off this contact for the headlight. This is usually pretty quick and easy to do. Put a little Simichrome on a paper towel, just smoosh it around. Grab the contact and just drag off a few, pinch it real well. Hold on to it tight on the other end. Just pinch it well, drag off a few times, and that'll clean a lot of crap right off of it. All right. I already did this part, which is also a electrical connector. And then that pops in like that. And all it does is it touches that top bracket for the truck. And we are done. So I'm going to redo the camera here for a minute and put this on the test track and see how it goes. Okay, so here we go. We got her up on the test track, and this track is well, it's filthy, so it's pretty much a torture track. So if it runs on this halfway decently, it'll run on a clean track really well. So let's put a little power to her. And keep in mind, I now have my direction on my controller over here set to forward, or what I consider forward. And the headlight is on this end. Before, when I did this, it ran backwards. But now that I've got the trucks turned around the way they're supposed to be, it should run forwards. Putting on a little bit of power. Oh, look at that. I'm at 20% and she's starting to crawl just like that. That's what I want to see. Because if she'll do that, she'll do anything I want her to. A little more power. Look at that. Smooth as can be. Let's back it up. Same thing. Smooth running engine. And again, this track is filthy. All right, let's bring it around. And I'm going to live dangerously because this does not have any couplers on it. And I'm going to see if I can push my cars around the track. Let's just creep up on it slowly so I don't crash into them. Boom, just like that. Put a little more power on it. And there you go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fully weighted box cars. Those are weighted according to the Train Association weight, which means that these are roughly 4 to 4.5 ounces each. And she's pushing all of them like a champion at a really nice low speed. I'm at about 25% power, as you can see right there. And she would even go slower than that if I wanted to. Now the funny part is my track is so screwy and unlevel. When it gets about here, all of a sudden those cars are going to take off and roll away and stop, and then she has to catch up. I'm going to give it a little more juice. Here she comes. And stop. So yeah, she's a runner. Now, given that this thing is, I couldn't even guess at how old this thing is. It's probably 30 years, you know, give or take. I'm not sure when ATHEARN built this particular model. Anyways, that's it. That's our video. Again, I hope you will subscribe to our channel. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to throw in some comments down below and let me know what you think. And we'll be doing some more of these. All right, see you later. Bye.